Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report. And coming up on today's show, the Raiders trading up for a quarterback. It's still alive. And I know some of y'all are going to be like, Mitch, the chances are not high. I promise you this. After you watch today's video, you're going to be like this. So you're telling me there's a chance. And at the end of the day, that's all I need is a chance. If you also like this video, click that like button right now because I do believe there might be a small chance, but I've heard people say that Devontae Adams, never going to get traded. Khalil Mack, never going to get traded. Justin Fields is never going to get traded for a 5th-round pick, Mitch. He ended up getting traded for a 6th. Bottom line, things happen in the NFL, and if you still believe that the Raiders could trade up and go get their guy in Jayden Daniels, click that like button. The reason why that I do think that there's at least a little bit of a chance is we have an update here from the Arizona Cardinals, and their GM, Monti Ossenfor, said that they are open to trade offers for the number 4 pick. He also really mentioned that a lot of these discussions could take place at owners' meetings, and if you remember a few weeks ago, I was like, hey, like the NFL Combine, you get a bunch of these people together, there's a lot of conversations that happen, and could something start to materialize? Same exact thing for the owner meetings from March 24th to the 27th. There's going to be a lot of conversations that are going to be had. I will say that what the Cardinals GM did say was that he doesn't anticipate that a trade or anything happens during the owner meetings. It would be more than likely like during the NFL draft or days before the draft, so just something to keep in mind. But to me, the one team that I've always said is like makes the most sense to trade back is Arizona. They've already tried to stockpile picks, and it does make a lot of sense for them to try to go back and figure out how to rebuild that roster from top to bottom. Here's the exact quote, though, from the Cardinals GM on trading the number 4 pick. There will be a big neon sign that says open, and I don't like it blinking. It messes with my eyes, but we're always going to be listening. I think we'll always have the conversation. We may not get a point where a deal makes sense. We're always going to have the conversation, and if it makes sense, if it's attractive to the building, our team, then it's something that we'll certainly consider no matter where we are at the draft. I'd say that the phone calls are starting to pick up a little bit. I would say they'll probably continue into next week. I would imagine some of those conversations will continue to pick up, but honestly, they probably will not get real serious until we get right up to the week of the draft, similar to last year. So coming up here, I'm going to break down why the chances of the Raiders to trade up are still alive. And I'm going to show you my dream mock draft scenario, right? Like, I know for a fact that there's not a high probability of the Raiders trading up and going and getting their quarterback. But you know what? I'm going to paint a picture, and I'm going to promise you that that picture is going to be Jayden Daniels to the silver and black. I will get into that, but this is why you subscribe to the show. If you love the Raiders, click that subscribe button. If you bleed silver and black, seriously, hit it. Hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications. That way, every time we drop a video, you're in the know. We got free videos coming out every single day. We go live 4 times a week when breaking news happens. I do my best to keep you up to date. I don't want you to agree with everything that I say, and I don't really plan on you agreeing with everything that I say. But at the end of the day, I'm the type of person, I support people that, one, family, you always support family. And if you believe that nation is family, you support it. But, like, nobody outworks Jeremy and I. And I will say that through and through. Nobody puts in the work that we do. So if you believe in a commitment to excellence, those are the type of businesses that I support. And if you're like, you know what, Mitch, I can ride with that. I promise you, watch this show for a week, watch this show for a month, watch it for a year. You have nothing to lose. And if you don't like it after that time, unsubscribe. You got nothing to lose, man. All right, so here's my painting a picture of Jayden Daniels to the Raiders if they trade up based off this Arizona Cardinals GM saying, hey, we're open to trading, and anything right now is on the table. I already know this. Caleb Williams is a Chicago Bear. Lock it in. The fact that Keenan Allen's at his pro day, the fact that DJ Moore's talking on radio and gets asked the question about what the next quarterback could potentially do, and he literally says Caleb. Caleb Williams is a Bear. Lock it in. Get ready to get it going. Next thing is this. Now, I've seen some very mixed reports on Washington and Jayden Daniels. However, what if it's true that Daniels doesn't like Washington? There was a story that came out about 2 weeks ago around the idea of Jayden not liking Adam Peters, who is the GM right now of the Commanders, because of a conversation Daniels and Peters had back in 22 when Brandon Ayuk introduced Jayden to Peters, and Peters told him that you're not going to basically be a successful quarterback in the NFL and that I value you as a 5th-round pick. And it's been reported or it's been said that Daniels doesn't like Peters, and what's interesting about it is he hasn't squashed that rumor. He has squashed the rumor of him not wanting to go to the New England Patriots, so maybe he hasn't seen it, maybe he has, but hey, what if he doesn't want to go to Washington? Something to consider, and maybe that's the reason why they don't take him. Next reason is, I know for a fact that the Commanders like Drake May. If you're the Commanders, do you take a chance on drafting a guy that you don't know for certain that he likes you or not? Or you're like, you know what, I like Drake May a little bit more. We're going to take him at pick number 2. Then this thing happens. The Minnesota Vikings, who have already made a trade with the Houston Texans, they have pick 11, they have pick 23. What happens if the Vikings at this point then trade up potentially with the New England Patriots, and the Patriots aren't sold on any of the other wide receivers? Maybe they like some other receivers. It's been reported that they're very high on Malik Neighbors, but the Vikings trade up to number 3. They give, this New England Patriots team, new head coach in Gerard Mayo, all these draft picks. But when you look at the latest J.J. McCarthy odds, okay, he was a plus 200, I want to say, last week to go to the Vikings. Today, as I am making this video, minus 100 odds, J.J. McCarthy, Vikings. When you see odds start to creep up into that area, Vegas knows something that we don't. And maybe Minnesota just trades up to pick number 4 with Arizona. But my idea here is, how can I paint a picture of the most realistic scenario where the Raiders get Jayden? And this is the scenario. Caleb Williams, Chicago Bear. Drake May, Washington Commanders. The Vikings want J.J. McCarthy because their other quarterback that they like is Drake May. I made a video last week that says that they have Drake May as their number 1. McCarthy is their number 2, not counting Williams. And then it's Jayden after all them. If Minnesota's already made the moves, could they potentially do everything they possible to go get McCarthy? If that happens, that means the Arizona Cardinals are on the clock at number 4. That means that Jayden Daniels is on the clock at number 4. And then, what happens? Could the Raiders potentially go up and get him? Now, I'll admit, there's a part of me that wonders that the Patriots are still going to take Jayden, because I do think that they like him, and I can understand why they would like him. He's an unbelievably talented quarterback. I don't think Jacoby Brissett has anything to do with their future plans. Think of it as just like the Gardner Minshew. You don't really want Gardner to start, but it's a really, really good backup option. So if the Patriots don't draft Jayden Daniels, or if they trade back with the Minnesota Vikings, I'm telling you this right now, if the Patriots don't take Jayden Daniels, and if the Vikings trade up, he's a Raider. And that's what I'm holding out hope for. So my perfect draft here. Let's roll through it real quick. Caleb Williams, Chicago Bear. Drake May off the board of the Washington Commanders. J.J. McCarthy off the board here at number 3 to the Minnesota Vikings. And then that means the Las Vegas Raiders, they're going to take Jayden Daniels at number 4 overall, trading up with the Arizona Cardinals. But the problem of this is, well, Mitch, what does it take to get that guy, right? And I hear you loud and clear. What does it take to go get that guy? I got some trade ideas coming up here on the show. To me, though, the reason why that I do think that the Patriots could potentially trade back and go to number 11 is I think that they could take a guy like Bo Nix. If they did really, truly like a quarterback, you stockpile some extra draft picks, and if you're New England, you can potentially get a Bo Nix at 11. You can get another top receiver at pick number 23, which you would get both of those picks, and that helps you build your roster. Or you might even be able to trade up again and go get some extra players, like if you really want a Marvin Harrison Jr., if you really want a Malik Neighbors, something along those regards. I will say this. One quarterback that has been very well duly noted that the Patriots do not like is Michael Penix Jr. When they had the opportunity to go to his pro day, they did not go to it, and all the top Patriots beat reporters have said they are not going to draft Michael Penix Jr. Does that mean they could potentially go get Bo Nix, a quarterback that they do like, and a quarterback that they were at his pro day? Something to at least keep in mind. Again, not likely, but hey, dream scenario here, right? So coming up is going to be 3 trades of what I think it's going to take to get up to number 4. And every single week that we do this show, every single time new information comes out, every single time I talk to somebody new, every single time somebody from our combine team or draft team talks to people, things change. I am going to tell you this, though, right now. The price tag to move up to 4 is going to be more, especially based on the scenario that I created, is going to be more than what it's ever been worth in the history of the NFL draft before. So get ready. Got some big trades coming up here. Before I show you what they are, if you want to get your hands on a Christian Wilkins shirt, make sure you do it. Pre-order it right now because they are going like hotcakes. And I know it says number 00 here. It's just a placement number. He's going to be wearing 94. When you order the shirt, it'll say 94 on it. And if you want to get your hands on this bad boy, go to chatsports.com/Wilkins. That link's going to be available to y'all down in the comments and in the description. of today's show. And I know how excited I was when the Raiders got Wilkins. I know how excited I'm going to be when I'm rocking my Wilkins shirt. To me, I've been wanting for a defensive tackle for a long, long time. And you bet your ass I'm going to be rocking a Christian Wilkins t-shirt. Hopefully you're rocking it with me. Chatsports.com/Wilkins. All right, let's go here. Coming up, we got 3 trades based on the projected cost to get up to number 4. And when I make these trade ideas, it's predicated on the draft scenario that you previously saw. I'm also going to tell you this. Anytime I make trades, they are always the thing that goes on social media, on Twitter, on Instagram. All I ask is, if you agree with it, cool. If you don't, even if you don't agree with it, at least defend me a little bit in the comments, because I always hear, this is crazy. The trades that you're seeing are going to be based on you paying more than you've ever had to pay, because I believe this year and this year alone, that number 4 pick is going to cost more than anything because of the quarterback situation. So here we go. Trade idea number 1. The Raiders, they get the number 4 overall pick from the Arizona Cardinals, and then the Cardinals, they receive 3 first-round picks, pick 24, 25, and in 2026. I know it's a lot, but you also have to remember the 49ers, they went from 12 to 3. That cost them 3 first-round picks. So in that mindset, I'm thinking it's going to be very, very similar. Also, if you're the Raiders, your quarterback coach, Scangarillo, was also a part of that 49ers staff that helped them go up and get Trey Lance. Didn't work out. I think it would be a little bit different, though, here. Let's look at trade idea number 2. The number 1 need for the Arizona Cardinals. They don't have Marquise Hollywood Brown anymore. The number 1 need is Jakobi Meyers. It's wide receiver. And it's not that I want to trade Jakobi. Let's get that out of the way, because everyone's like, Mitch, why do you always want to trade Jakobi? I want to trade Jakobi because I don't want to trade Devontae Adams. And that's the value. The Raiders also restructured his contract, which makes it easier for teams to take on Jakobi's contract. Your Raiders are going to eat a little bit, but at the end of the day, I'm going to eat as much money as possible if it means that I'm going to go up and get Jayden Daniels, go up there and get my quarterback. So it's a first-round pick this year, number 13 overall, a first-round pick next year, and then you're giving up Jakobi Meyers. The third trade idea that I cooked up here. Raiders obviously get number 4. The Cardinals, they get picks 13 and 44, and if Arizona does that, I think that puts them at like 7 or 8 picks in the top 100. I mean, this team has been stockpiling draft picks. They have been getting ready for a very, very long time. Then you're going to give them a second-round pick in 2025 and then a second-round pick in 2026. So based on the trade value chart, I tried to go not to pick number 4. I tried to get it to pick number 3 because I thought that's basically how much it would cost for Las Vegas if they wanted to get it done. So here's my question to you. I just gave you 3 trade ideas. What's your favorite one? Pick 1, number 2, or is it number 3? Let me know down below. This is the only question that I asked you guys, because this is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. Like, I want to know which trade you would do, because if you're not going to do any of them, guess what? Then this is never going to happen in the first place. If it was up to me, the trade that I would do is the first one. And I know some of you are like, you would give up 3 first-round picks? The reason why I'd be more willing to give up 3 first-round picks is because if I'm Antonio Pierce and I'm Tom Telesco, and I've said this before, I'm looking at 2026 as it doesn't matter. Because if Jayden Daniels hits and you trade up and you get that quarterback, this is worth it. If he's your franchise guy, the trade is 100% worth it. If you're Antonio Pierce and you're Tom Telesco and the trade doesn't work, you're not around till 2026. So I almost look at this as just free money that I can go out and spend and just say, here you go. If it works, it's great. This is why this would be the trade that I personally would do. I also like some of the value in the second round, and I want the Raiders to be able to still use a lot of those picks in year 1, in year 2 with Telesco, with Antonio Pierce to build a roster. That's why I would do this move right here. If you want to be able to interact with Jeremy and I on social media, there's places where you can do it. You can interact with us on Instagram and on Twitter. I'm at Mitchell Renz 365. Chugs is at Jeremy Chugs on X, and he's also at Jeremy_Chugs on Instagram. And judging by the numbers, it looks like he gained a few followers. So, hey, don't be afraid. Hit us up. These are probably the easiest places also to just be able to interact with us, DM us, ask us questions. If you want to stay up to date with what's going on in our actual life, believe it or not, yeah, Jeremy said mine next to his. You'll get there. You'll get there. Seriously, though, appreciate all y'all for tuning into this show. Appreciate all y'all for tuning into our live show. And our March Madness bracket has been rocking and rolling. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, make sure you tune into our live show tomorrow, Friday, happy hour, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific, for more March Madness insanity.